Well, joining me now is Lori Williams, political analyst at Mount Royal University. Hi, Lori.
Good to see you, Matt.
Let's get into this, shall we, too? Interesting, another, it feels like, political move by the Alberta Premier in order to generate at least some conversation about this topic. What do you make of her comments about the possibility and her wanting the province to have more say in judges?
Well, first of all, it's hard to line up with her most recent comment about appointing judges in Alberta, saying that she wanted the federal government to fill those appointments so that justice could be served and those wait times in the courts could be cleared. This could actually shoot herself in the foot by saying she's not going to fund the appointments unless she gets more influence on who is appointed. The second thing is, she's made a lot of critical comments about judges and judicial decisions in Canada, to the point where all three of Alberta's chief justices issued a letter recently where they had a statement that said that it's really important to understand the independence of the judiciary, and that the distinction between the executive, the premier, and the judiciary is absolutely essential for democracy and for judicial independence and for people's rights and freedoms to be protected, their interests to be protected in the court, without being concerned about the influence of the majority. That's sort of the compromise that's struck in constitutional democracies. You protect rights on the one hand, and you provide majority a reflection in the vote on the other.
And I think that was the thing. It was such a rare move to see that letter, to see that response publicly from those judges in Alberta. I want to ask you, this feels more and has more of an American feel to it, doesn't it? You know, how the U.S. selects judges, there's a lot more political influence, going, the president of the United States being involved in essentially nominating a judge to the Supreme Court, has to be confirmed by the Senate. Do you believe that's her influence here, or is, again, she just trying to stir the pot?
I think it's a little both. Obviously, there are a lot of people who think that judges are biased, and often they'll criticize a decision without fully explaining or understanding what's going on with that decision. I think that's quite problematic as well. To hear the descriptions of the decisions in some cases, you'd get a very different impression of what's actually happening than is the case. Thankfully, in Canada, because we have an independent process for appointing justices, there's a lot of public review and oversight. Because of all of that, we have a judiciary that is not as partisan as we sometimes see in the United States, and it's really important to maintain that. Confidence in judicial decisions hinges on the sense that they are being appointed not for ideological reasons, not by a particular government, but by independent folks that are reviewing, making sure that they're qualified, and then making the appointments based on both their background, their education, and their ability to do the job.
And let me just, before I let you go, Lori, go back to one of your, part of your first answer about how the Premier and how Danielle Smith could be shooting herself in the foot, because it's not just Alberta. Across the country, the justice system in a lot of places, things are behind. We're seeing Jordan applications, too, for charges being dismissed as a result of the court system not moving quickly enough in order to get to these. And if she does choose to ultimately withhold funding, and it sounds like, again, with this ultimatum, that's going to make things even worse.
Well, exactly. I mean, again, she said recently that these vacancies need to be filled so that justice can be served in Alberta. And now she seems to be saying that she only wants the vacancies filled if her terms are met. I mean, this is a longstanding set of issues and concerns, and they can be addressed, I think, in a much more cooperative fashion. I think, for example, getting more input, and there has been increased input in judicial appointments across the country. It was a feature of Meech Lake, as some people might remember. But it's really important that these not be seen as representative of this or that government or this or that region, that these actually be independent, impartial arbiters of the matters that come before them. And to raise questions like this, it risks calling into question the independence, impartiality, and function, frankly, of the judiciary.
Lori Williams, political analyst at Mount Royal University. Thanks for this today, Lori. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Matt.